It's absolutely apptacular. The Subject Cinema Android app. Everything you need to be a rabid Subject Cinema fan. Subject Cinema, 3-Minute Weekend, Tuesday Digidex, and Front Row 5 and 10. All right at your fingertips and available instantly. Plus, email and voicemail links, Facebook and Twitter hookups, Patreon support specials, and more is coming real soon. Don't just listen, app it. The all-in-one Subject Cinema podcast app. Android version available now at Google Play or on PNRNetwork websites. Amazon and iPhone apps coming soon. Don't delay. Download today.
Blueberry. This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Can we hope that this works this week?
Well, you're the computer genius.
I know.
Genius, so hopefully it will work this week.
We are late by 4 weeks with our summer preview edition. We're going to have to truncate it a bit. Plus, we have a couple of other items to go over, including a review of Deadpool 2.
Yep.
All happening right here, right now. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Stand by for fun.
This is Subject Cinema's Summer Movie Preview.
Da, 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 da.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
This town needs an enema.
Celebrating a decade of film podcasting. Lasting out of Beantown, USA, you're tuned into Subject Cinema with T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown.
Directed.
Oh, behave. Yeah.
I volunteer as tribute.
Suppose you run your business and let me run mine. Here's looking at you, kid.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome T.C. and Kim.
Well, this month has been fun, hasn't it?
Well, it's been an ordeal.
Welcome to Subject Cinema. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
Hi, I'm Kim Brown.
Subject Cinema number 606, originally recorded, but for some reason lost last weekend. Today's day and date, May 20th, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who are not aware of what's been going on around here, I was kind of thrown into craziness on April 30th. My mother had a heart attack, a slight heart attack, on the last Friday of April, and I knew she was in the hospital and they were taking care of her. Well, Monday the 30th, they called me and said, you need to be here. So I flew out to Ohio, and I was there for 5 days, and then I just had arrived just home after a hellish ride home. I haven't finished that story. I will in the next week or so. My mother passed away on a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Monday.
Yep.
So I've just been trying to get things organized. I'm trying to organize things here from Massachusetts in Ohio. It's a little bit crazy. But thank you for those of you who have sent notices after reading my tribute. And it's been, I know that this is, I know she was 85. She had a long life, and it's been coming for a couple of years. I knew this was going to be coming before too long. So, I love you, Mom. Hope you're feeling better now that you're out of pain and out of the way, and where you should be up there playing cards and bowling and all that stuff with all your friends that have passed on before you. So
yeah, we're getting things back. We're trying to get things back in order after things got kind of kicked apart for a little while. I would also like to say thank you to everyone who was so supportive to TC during this. And people.
It was
sent
interesting
nice
going
words to
home
me
for a
too,
while
because his mother was a wonderful. Your mom was a wonderful lady, and I miss her very much.
Yeah, I know, I do too. It was interesting going home to Lancaster for a while because I hadn't been there for 25 years, and everything's still the same, but it's changed. There's different businesses and businesses that have closed, and I'd never been to my mother's apartment before, so because she had moved in, she moved after I left there, and it was kind of weird. The hospital was dinky when I left. Now it's a sprawling, like 5-block complex. It was a bit crazy, and I had to walk most of the time because Lancaster's transportation sucks, and that was not easy, walking almost a mile back and forth between her place and the hospital. But it was ultimately a good visit, and really nice to spend time with her, and I'm glad I got to go. I just wish I'd stayed a couple extra days, but
well, I still think she held on long
I
enough
do too.
to say goodbye to you and to be with you, and then once she knew you were on your way back home, she let go and she went home.
Yep, she did. I got a call less than 12 hours after I got home that she'd passed on, and it was nice. I know she wasn't by herself. They had a No One Dies Alone volunteer with her at the hospice, and it was really good to hear from them. And they were so, the people at the Pickering House Hospice, run by Fairview, I think the name of it is, medical services out there, just wonderful people and just terrific. I stayed there for 2 days, and it was a great experience as far as that goes, and I knew she was in good hands. Let's move on from all this maudlin stuff, and I know she would not want me to stick around on it either, and try to start getting back to normal with blog posts on our regular sites at eCinemaOne.com, eCinemaBoston.com. I tried to do I managed to get all the Eurovision stuff up right before everything happened, and so that was great. And congratulations to Netta. We have to cover that. We'll talk about that later in the show. I forgot about that on my notes. Let me put that there. And so a lot of fun coming up this summer. We're going to skip May except for a couple of releases, because it's almost over.
Yep.
There were a few bigger names that came out this month, most notably Deadpool 2, which came out this weekend. But there is still one more big movie coming out in May.
Yes, there is.
It's tops on her list.
Yes, it is. Coming out at the end of May, we have Solo, a Star Wars story. Obviously, because of the incredibly massive success of Rogue One, which I know some people were like, this isn't going to work, and then holy crap, it worked. People actually wanted to see what happened before Episode 4, long before Episode 4. Solo, a Star Wars story, looks at Han Solo before he became the charming smuggler that we met in the cantina at Mos Eisley with Luke and Ben and the droids. This is how Han became an expert pilot, how he met his Wookiee friend Chewbacca. It's basically just finding out who Han was before he became the Han that we knew, if that makes any sense.
I guess.
I am one
of course, the production was troubled.
Yeah,
with
it
Phil
hasn't
Lord
been easy,
and Chris Miller and Phil Lord getting the boot, replaced by Ron Howard halfway through the filming, and a lot of people have said that Ehrenreich is not Harrison Ford, but then again, the test audiences have been really good, and the critics liked it for the most part. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll see it this Friday and have a review for you next week on Subject Cinema.
Yep.
When we come back, we'll get started with the real stuff. June, July, and August, we'll give you all the dates at the end on our finally here summer movie preview.
When Subject Cinema returns.
Real movies for real people. Subject Cinema.
All right, Kristen, I am so excited that you've decided to do a podcast with me, but what are we going to do a podcast about? There's so many other movie podcasts. We got to do something original.
Well, I'm a big fan of Disney movies. What about something like that?
That's just kid stuff. What do we want to do that for?
Did you know that The Avengers is a Disney movie? Or that Pulp Fiction is a Disney movie?
Pulp Fiction is not a Disney movie.
It's technically owned by Miramax, which is part of Disney.
We are still going to talk about the Disney animated movies, though, right?
I thought you said that was kid stuff.
Well, I've got 2 kids. I got to be a good dad and stuff.
So be sure to subscribe to the Walt Sent Me podcast, where we discuss the various subsidiaries of the Walt Disney Studios, including the animated movies.
It's available on iTunes, Podomatic, and wherever you find great podcasts. And I swear, It's not kid stuff.
Subject Cinema!
Welcome back to Subject Cinema. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
Hi, I'm Kim Brown.
Subject Cinema number 606, May 20th, 2018. We're a day late. We'll be back on Saturday next weekend. There is summer movies coming out our way.
Yes.
And we missed most of May, but we're about to kick off with June. We're not going to hit all the films. There's over 130 films coming out since the Entertainment Weekly edition, which is what we always use for this. Their summer movie preview. Thank you, Entertainment Weekly. There were 130 new films at that time. There are now 146 new films scheduled for this summer, thanks to all the film festivals and being slotted in. So we're not going to get to everything, but we will read you the entire available list. A lot of stuff doesn't have dates yet of the newer stuff. So we will read you the entire date list at the end of all of this stuff.
Yeah.
June is busting out all over.
Well, then she needs to wear looser clothes.
There's a big sequel and a big... successor, maybe, is how you would describe that one?
I'd go for that, yeah.
All right. Starting with the big sequel, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, coming out on June 22nd. Picks up 4 years after the last Jurassic World film. Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, two of my most favorite actors on the planet.
That's sarcasm, kids, for those of you who don't
Although
know.
I actually didn't mind them in this, but I went to see Jurassic World strictly because Nick Robinson and Ty Simpkins were in it, and they're not in this one.
Nope.
Although Justice Smith is, Justice from Paper Towns and that Baz Luhrmann series that was on Showtime for a while.
And Jeff Goldblum's back as the character that he had played in Jurassic Park.
Which is just the character he's now playing on Apartments.com commercials.
But not exactly.
And the same character he played in Thor Ragnarok.
It is not!
It's basically.
Cut that out.
They're all the same character. They just have different names and looks. Goldblum never can do more than one type of character. I've never been a big fan of his. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, seeing as I thought he was spectacular on Law & Order Criminal Intent, and I think he's awesome anyway.
Guest starring?
So there. No, he was a detective on there for a while.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on. Jurassic World, as TC mentioned, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom takes place 4 years after the event of Jurassic World, where they had tried again to make an amusement park with real dinosaurs, and shockingly, it all went wrong in the biggest surprise since Hitler invaded Poland. Now, the island, which has been left to the dinosaurs, is crumbling because of a volcanic eruption, and people, including Chris Pratt's character, have been sent back to try and rescue the dinosaurs, but the organization that wants the dinosaurs rescued don't really seem to have a very altruistic plan behind that.
Yeah.
Boo hiss.
Well, that's how it usually goes in these kind of movies. Otherwise, they don't have a movie.
Nope.
It'll probably do gangbuster business. I don't know if it'll do anywhere near the first one, but it's going to be interesting.
Besides the fact that the simple fact of the matter being that the same thing I've been saying since Jurassic Park came out, there's a reason that humans and dinosaurs did not exist on this planet at the same time for a reason. This would be the reason.
There's a reason that they didn't for a reason?
Yeah, the reason is that we're small and crunchy.
And but you said for a reason at both ends of the sentence.
The reason that we didn't exist at the same time as the dinosaurs is because the dinosaurs have figured out rather quickly we're small and crunchy. We're kind of like anchovies, only we scream more. So
yeah, we're just as hairy, I think.
Some of us are hairier.
Kicking off June on June 8th is the successor to 3 successful movies featuring team of con men, thieves, and
other assorted miscreants.
Right. So this one, all populated by some of the most talented women on the planet.
Yes.
Ocean's 8 is a direct successor to the Ocean movies with George Clooney, Matt Damon, and that group.
Yes.
Sandra Bullock's character is related or knows one of them.
No, she is related. Sandra Bullock's character...
She's George Clooney's sister,
yes.
right? Yeah.
She is Debbie Ocean, the sister of Danny Ocean, played by George Clooney. And she puts together a crew to go in and steal a fabulous necklace. Mm-hmm. Said crew including Cate Blanchett, Rihanna, Mindy Kaling, Helena Bonham Carter, Sarah Paulson, and Aquafina.
And Mindy Kaling.
I did say Mindy Kaling, didn't
Nope.
I? Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope.
If I did, I'm sorry, Mindy, if I missed your name. Now, since we had the all-female version of Ghostbusters and the collective yawn with said,
yeah, this is actually tracking really well. They're expecting a $60 million weekend for it, and it's doing better than anything that they had on the original, on the Ghostbusters reboot that they did with Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy last year. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be interesting. Also out in June is The Incredibles 2, sequel to the long-awaited sequel to the Pixar film from 2003. Mm-hmm. Pixar's big entry this year. Baby is finding his powers. Mrs. Incredible's back out there doing superhero work again at the behest of the government. And it's going to be your usual happy, crunchy, moralistic Pixar film.
Well, yeah.
But, I haven't seen the first one all the way through, and it's like, but what I've seen of it never impressed me, so. A Kid Like Jake is another film that's getting a lot of buzz. This is out next, 2 weekends away. It is about a pair of parents played by Big Bang Theory's Jim Parsons and Claire Danes, who are getting flack because they're letting their 4-year-old son play with toys that most people wouldn't think he should. Mm-hmm. Barbie dolls and basically girls' toys. And the whole question is, well, what is gender? What is parenting? How do you react to this? It's been a big hit on the festival circuit.
Basically, yeah, it's the whole idea that this kid he's a very young child, but he's not doing the things boys are supposed to do. And instead of being like most parents who tend to panic and shove their children into gender pigeonholes and basically be ass clowns about the whole thing, they're actually being like, well, he wants to do what he wants. Mm-hmm. And other people's attitudes around that, to which my attitude to that is, it's none of your motherforking business. See, this falls into the why Kim shouldn't be a parent, because Kim would be that parent.
Stop, okay?
But it's true.
Adrift is also coming out in June. It's basically All Is Lost with a storm thrown in.
Yeah.
A big storm.
And another
It's
person.
based on a true story and stars Shailene Woodley and Sam Claflin, two Rising Star alum.
Yep.
And I will be there. I don't know if you're going to go or not. Why we needed a remake of Superfly, I don't know.
I don't know.
I have not yet figured this one out. June 15th with Trevor Jackson in the title role. Superfly, the original Superfly, is a great film. It's action-packed. It has a great score by the late Curtis Mayfield.
Corner of the blaxploitation film genre.
It is a fantastic film. I'm not sure where they're going with this, but it'll be interesting.
June 22nd, as of right now, date's subject to change, is supposed to be bringing us Under the Silver Lake, which is a story about a young man, played by Andrew Garfield, who goes on a date with a neighbor, and they have a lovely time, and the next morning she winds up missing. And everybody's completely freaked out about where she is, including him, and he's trying to find out where she's gone and possibly who took her. Did she leave on her own or did somebody take her against her will?
Right.
Should be interesting.
Yeah. Action Point is something that we're both waiting for.
Yeah.
Having seen real life footage of Action Park, the park it's based on.
Yeah, let's do a little backtrack with that. Action Park was an amusement park in New Jersey. In the 80s, 70s, and 80s, I think they said?
70s, 80s, 90s, and then again in the 2010s.
The footage that we've seen, thanks to YouTube, of Action Park...
Yeah, look it up on YouTube. You can find all kinds of things about the notorious place.
By the time we were done watching this, I was like, you didn't go to this park. You survived this park. This...
Well, they had rides that people literally could get killed on.
Yeah.
Johnny Knoxville stars in this fictionalized version of the park's history.
That water slide alone makes me break out in a sweat.
I love the luge track. I thought the luge track was fun. looks fun.
I'm
thinking they did change the name because the park did not cooperate. It has reopened in recent years. I think it closed again.
I think it did close again.
But it has reopened in recent years by the original owner's son. Didn't change anything. They left it the way it was.
To give you an idea, people in the area called it Class Action Park. So that should kind of give you an indication of what we're talking about here.
I think the movie that both of us have been waiting for, and is probably the most important film to us this entire summer, is the new documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor? This is an in-depth portrait of Fred Rogers. It has been one of the biggest movies on the festival circuit this year. Directed by Morgan Neville. This film is a loving look back at Fred, his philosophies for life and for children. Yep. And it is narrated by an actor you may have heard of who got his start in show business running Mr. Rogers' neighborhood trolley. His name is Michael Keaton.
Yep.
And it is... I can't wait to see this. We're both going to sit there and bawl.
Yeah, I know.
And because I loved Mr. Rogers as a child, and I continued to think he was just one of the greatest people ever.
Yeah.
If there was ever an entertainer that deserves to be given a sainthood, it's probably Fred Rogers.
Absolutely, because he was a genuinely kind human being. I think that I think that somebody like Mr. Rogers is someone that, I'm sorry, we need more people like him. We don't need more guns. We don't need more bombs. We don't need more blah, 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 all this stuff. We need people like Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
You know, if I could be half as good of a human being as he was, I'd be satisfied with myself.
Yeah.
Also in June, on June 1st...
Go ahead and hit that one real quick.
...is Upgrade. Upgrade is a science fiction film about a man who is attacked along with his wife. His wife is killed in the attack, and the beating that he receives leaves him almost dead. He does survive, but he winds up a paraplegic. Because of the help of an experimental computer chip that is implanted within him, he is re-given his ability to walk. Now, let's think about this.
So it's Mantis the movie.
Pretty much.
You guys remember Mantis? It was a Fox show in the early 90s.
Mantis meets Death Wish, you know, and a few other roaring rampage of revenge movies in there, and somebody put it in a blender and hit frappe.
Well, Death Wish did terrible when it the remake
yes,
with Bruce
did.
Willis. The movie that's coming out in early June that is getting lots of buzz from online fans may actually not come out on June 1st. And the reason why we're saying that, it is being distributed by MoviePass. MoviePass is the company that they have teamed up with AMC with this film, and also got into the distributor business by buying this film at Sundance. Now, in the last 2 weeks, MoviePass's stock has fallen to just cents on the dollar. They are in real trouble and may not make it out of this month. So, I don't know if they will or not, but American Animals is based on the true story of 4 college students who, having seen way too many heist films growing up, decide to do one of their own. It is based, as I said, on a true story of a library heist at Transylvania University in Kentucky. The film stars Evan Peters and Barry Keoghan, among others, and I can't wait to see it. I love Evan Peters. So, what's that weird look?
I'm just still trying to figure out why there's a Transylvania in Kentucky.
I don't know.
Because I'm trying to picture, Kentucky vampires, and it's blowing my mind.
Yeah. Set it up as a Richie date movie where 2 assistants for these two executives decide to put their bosses together and make things easier. Taye Diggs and
Lucy Liu as the bosses.
And Zoe Deutsch and Glenn Powell as the assistants.
You have to admit, though, if Taye Diggs and Lucy Liu got together, that would be an astoundingly gorgeous child they would produce. It would be ridiculous how beautiful that baby would be.
Sicario Day of the Soldado is a sequel to the crime drama
Sicario.
Sicario from a few years ago. I didn't see that. I know people who did see it and liked it. I know a few people who liked it, saw it, and didn't care for it. So it has its fans.
Yep. Hotel Artemis comes out on June 8th. It is a story set in the near future. It's set in 2028 Los Angeles. And it's set at the Hotel Artemus, which is a hotel that is basically a no-questions-asked hospital for criminals, run by a woman who is known as Nurse, played by Jodie Foster. And it's got a great cast, including Charlie Day, Sophia Boutella, and Sterling K. Brown. It sounds interesting. I mean, if you're into the whole dystopian future thing. It's not really my bag, but,
No, this next movie isn't my bag either. You talk about Tag, because you've been talking about seeing it since you saw the trailer.
The trailer made me laugh, and I would be the first to admit
and
sometimes...
And it's based on a true story, which is terrifying to me.
Yeah, I have to bring up anything that starts with based on a true story. A Beautiful Mind was based on a true story.
Well, yes, based on a true story.
Other than the fact that John Nash was a real person, that's about it, from what I heard.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway... Tag, which comes out on June 15th. No, it's not a redo of Tag, the assassination game. Sorry, 80s kids. Tag,
which is a great film, by the way, if you've never seen it.
Is the story of a group of friends who have been playing the same game of Tag since they were children. They are now all grown adults with careers.
In their 40s.
Yes, with their careers and families and life going on around them. But they are still playing this game of Tag. And it's basically the story centers on one member of the group of people who has never been it. And the other members of the group, these 4 other friends, are determined to get him to be it. Considering the guy that is the person that had never been tagged is Jeremy Renner...
and the other 4 are Hannibal Buress, Ed Helms. Can't read it. Who's the other 2? Jake Johnson and...
Jake Johnson, Hannibal Buress, John Hamm.
John Hamm.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I wouldn't mind tagging Jeremy Renner. Hey-o!
Hereditary is...
A movie we're not going to see.
It's not. It's a very squishy film. It is one of the most buzzed about horror films in history. It premiered, I think, at South by Southwest. It may have been Sundance, but man, has the buzz been incredible.
It was South by Southwest.
It was South by Southwest. Toni Collette is the star. It has been getting incredible reviews. Also starring Gabriel Byrne, Alex Wolff. You guys probably can't hear me because the mic's clear over here. And...
The story
Millie Shapiro.
The story of a family that stuff starts going severely wrong after the death of the family matriarch. Hereditary has actually had people screaming and crying and generally freaking out at South by Southwest, to the delight of one of the actors who thought that was amazing. I have heard people...
We've seen the trailer. It's incredibly squishy, just the trailer.
Yeah, it's one of those films that you can tell is going to pick apart at your nerves until you're a quivering mess.
You'll watch it when it comes online.
I have heard...
On cable, probably.
I have heard some people compare it to The Exorcist. I have heard some people say it's scarier than The Exorcist,
which is hard to imagine.
Which is my response to that is no, not in the theater.
Yeah.
No.
Hearts Beat Loud has me interested, surprisingly, because I'm not a particularly huge fan of Nick Offerman, but he does win me over when he plays certain parts. And here, he plays the father. Kiersey Clemons plays this daughter, and they end up bonding together by forming a band together. I think this is really cute, and I know Nick Offerman is well thought of as a character actor. There are times I can't stand him, like when he was the overbearing, obnoxious father in Kings of Summer, and yet as Greg's overachieving but extremely laid back professor father in Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, he absolutely rocked. I loved him in that role. So it's nice to see him finally getting something where he can really let his mojo down and start having people talk about him. This has been incredibly reviewed throughout most of the festival circuit. Also coming out this month, a few smaller films. Alex Strangelove, high school I don't know, what would you call this? A science fantasy thing?
I guess. I don't really know.
Has to do. Oh no! That's the one about the
Alex Strangelove is the story of a kid in high school who wants to lose his virginity to his girlfriend, which sounds like my
normal coming of age sex comedy,
except for the fact that a spanner gets thrown in the works in the form of a new kid who is very out in the open about being gay, and it makes Alex kind of look at his life in a different way.
Also, Gotti with John Travolta in the title role. This was bought from Weinstein's company in the aftermath and hitting. Eating Animals, which is a pro-vegan documentary. The Year of Spectacular Men, which is another... let me see. What's the description on that? A young woman navigates a quarter-life crisis with some help from her sister, starring the Deutsch sisters, Madeline and Zoe. Mm-hmm. And Damsel, which is getting rave reviews. It was another one that premiered at South by Southwest or Sundance, I forget which. It is a Western starring Robert Pattinson and Mia Wasikowska.
Yep.
Izzy Gets the F Across Town, which actually got bumped the day it was supposed to have come out several months ago. So much so, it was such a last-minute bump that I missed it, and it ended up on 3 Minute Weekend that week, even though it got bumped. Mm-hmm. It's a comedy, I know, and one of these raunchy hangover-type comedies.
Yeah.
Leave No Trace, another one that's getting raves about at the festival circuit, from Deborah Granick, the director, Ben Foster, and Thomason Harcourt McKenzie.
Yes.
As father and daughter are living off the grid. Sounds a little bit like Captain Fantastic from a couple years ago, but has been getting rave reviews. Urban comedy Uncle Drew, basketball comedy, and Woman Walks Ahead, which is a story about the woman who painted the portrait of Sitting Bull.
Mm-hmm.
That's June. There's some interesting stuff coming out all month long, and we'll keep you up tabs on all of the biggies, and hopefully a few of the small ones. We can't wait for Won't You Be My Neighbor.
Yep.
And we'll head in that way. And now it's time to head for fireworks as we move on to July,
when Subject Cinema returns.
The best movies! Subject Cinema!
Want to know what top titles from film and TV are hitting home video this week? Hi, I'm TC Kirkham of Subject Cinema, inviting you to check out Tuesday Digidex, our weekly roundup of all the new home video releases in the U.S. each week. Whether it's DVD, Blu-ray, or streaming you're looking for, we've got it covered. Tuesday Digidex, every Tuesday morning, from Subject Cinema at eCinemaOne.com, a PNRNetworks podcast powered by Libsyn. Subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast service.
No film is too good or too bad for us. This is Subject Cinema.
Welcome to another week here on Subject Cinema. This week we are looking at the movie season coming up for the summer, because it's actually starting to feel like summer around here finally.
Yeah.
I'm Kim Brown.
I'm TC Kirkham. We'd like to hear what you want to see this summer, and all about your summer plans for the movies. Please write us at subjectcinema@PNRNetworks.com.
I already started my summer because I cut my hair.
Yes, you did. It looks great. If she hasn't had hair this short in quite a while, it looks very nice.
Yeah. I felt like I needed a change, so I was like, just snip it all off.
Do you please, if you're listening to our show and you want to tell other people about it, by all means, shoot off an email or share us with your favorite friends. Don't forget to like and subscribe, whichever system you listen to, on iTunes, YouTube, on our own player, whatever you do. And, of course, don't forget about leaving comments and rating, because we can always use that. And we would appreciate it if you could come on board as a supporter. To do that, go to patreon.com/PNRNetworks. I am finally, over the last couple of weeks when I've been off, been working on the new plan system, and it's going to go up probably around June 1st or June 3rd or 4th. We're going to be redoing the perks and stuff, and we hope that you'll be able to come on board. And we'd really, really appreciate it. Let's get to July.
Yes.
Fireworks time.
Yes.
Interesting stuff all over the month coming out, but the one that scares me the most is the one we're going to open with. And I'm scared because the first movie was so much fun.
It was.
And I'm thinking, well, they've waited 10 years to do the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a disaster.
Yeah.
Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
Yep. Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again is the continuation of...
Which is a brilliant title, by the way.
Yeah, it is, actually. is a continuation of the characters that we got to meet in Mamma Mia, which was at first a stage play and then came to the big screen. It was what they now call a jukebox musical.
Yeah.
They hadn't come up with that term when that came out.
No, Mamma Mia was one of the earliest ones, although the first one I think that could actually be considered a jukebox musical was way back in the 80s. It was called Leader of the Pack, and it was the story of Carole King and Jerry Goffin.
Okay. Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, looks at the lives and what's been going on since in the lives of the people that live on this idyllic island in Greece and
off
of Greece, and specifically looking at Sophie. Now, Sophie was the young lady that we met in Mamma Mia who was getting married and sent out invitations to 3 men she'd never met before, one of whom may be her biological dad. She had found her mom's diary and read about these 3 men and figured one of them must be her dad. So she sent out these invites, and it was this whole, wacky misunderstanding stuff. And at the end of it, one of them turned out to be gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. No. One of them just was a confirmed fancy-free bachelor type, and the other one wound up falling back in love with Sophie's mother, Donna.
As the sequel opens, we learned that Donna has passed away.
Yes.
And Sophie has asked her
Sophie
mom's
wound up
friends,
not getting married.
They didn't get married, although they're still seeing each other.
Yes.
And now Sophie is pregnant.
Yes.
And she's asked her mother's best friends and her 3 dads, as she calls them, to come back and help her make decisions. We also see Donna's mother here, who's played by someone who is the same age as Donna. And it's going to be a very interesting thing.
And then we also get peeks into the past of Donna's friendship with her 2 best friends
and her
how
days
they
as
became
a singing
how they became singers, how Donna came to the island. So I mean, it should be fun, it should be sweet.
The original cast is back, and despite the fact that her character has passed away, Meryl is in the film, Meryl Streep.
Wow.
And she's Donna.
Flashbacks.
Also, we will see Cher as Meryl Streep's mother. Cher and Meryl Streep, if I'm not mistaken, are the same age. They're very close in age, and they've been best friends since they did Silkwood together.
That's why
years ago.
Cher looks better than I do.
I know. I know Cher looks great. You look great too.
Oh, stop! I have a feeling that after this movie, I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to come home and lock myself in the bathroom and eat an entire cheesecake.
And the only bad thing, the one really, really, really bad thing about this movie.
Here it comes.
We have to listen to Pierce Brosnan sing again.
You didn't see the Dr. Evil quotes around sing. I did.
Oh, come on. The man butchered SOS. I'm sorry. It's like,
he's
okay.
not William Hung. Calm down.
Well, no, he's not. But,
Also
he's
in
better
July...
he's not better than Sanjaya was, though. American Idol fights back. All right.
July also
starting the next Marvel cycle.
So excited.
Yep.
So excited for July 6th and Ant-Man and the Wasp. I loved Ant-Man.
It was great, yeah.
Loved it to bits. I thought it was awesome. I have never loved Paul Rudd more. He is fantastic as Scott Lang. And I gotta say something, his chemistry with Evangeline Lilly as Hope Van Dyne, the daughter of the original Ant-Man and Wasp, is amazing. They have fantastic chemistry together. Everybody's back from the original film, except Corey Stoll, obviously. Besides Paul and Evangeline, Michael Douglas is back as Hank Pym. Michael Pena is back. And there are some other people that are also making their debut, including, we know that Michelle Pfeiffer is going to be joining the cast as Janet Van Dyne.
Who was lost in the subatomic years ago.
Who was the original Wasp, who, because of a mission all those years ago, was lost in something called the quantum realm.
Right.
So we don't know if when she comes back, if it's going to be this big smooch-filled reunion between husband and wife, or if she's gone like bat guano insane from being. Of course, the thing is, time might not work the same there, so she might not have realized any time's gone by at all, which would make things hella awkward. Speaking of awkward, you have to wonder how things are going to be kind of crazy now because of all the nuttiness that went on in Avengers Infinity War.
Well, this is set before that. It's set between
before.
Civil War and
Yes.
Infinity War. So
Yeah.
that's why it wasn't. That's why Ant-Man wasn't included in this Avengers. But he supposedly, and Evangeline Lilly is confirmed, they're both in the next one. Although she said her part is just pretty small. She's just happy to be there.
Yeah.
So it'll be
Can't
interesting.
wait.
Gus Van Sant makes his long-awaited return to the film screen this summer with a movie that's already getting critically acclaimed everywhere. It's called Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot. The true story of quadriplegic alcoholic John Callahan, on whom the memoir of the film is based, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Jonah Hill. Both of them are already being buzzed for Oscar for this film. Mm-hmm. So it should be interesting to see. And Gus Van Sant, he's had a few misfires of late. Most recently, that movie he did, I can't remember the title of it, with, was it Sea of Trees? Was that the name of it? With Matthew McConaughey and Ken Watanabe, about the suicide forest in Japan that critics just roasted. And I haven't seen him get reviews that bad ever. Gus is one of my favorite auteurs because sometimes he can do a real masterpiece like he did with Paranoid Park, one of my all-time favorite films, or a couple of other ones of his early days, and yet he can turn out crap like Psycho. So, okay. It all depends on the material. I'm looking forward to this one. I am not, however, looking forward to one of the animated films hitting this summer. Teen Titans Go! To the movies. You see that little play on words there?
If y'all will excuse me, I'm going to go hide behind this blast screen. Take it away, dear.
I hated the original Teen Titans. I loathe Teen Titans Go.
Yes, you do.
They have totally ruined this. I can't wait for the new Titans television series coming to DC Online before too long with Brenton Thwaites as Nightwing. Going to be fantastic. This...
You hope.
Greg Berlanti again is producing them, so it's like, okay. And he's done Flash and Black Lightning and all these other ones that are just so good. I don't like this chibi version of the Titans anyway, and the fans don't like it either, which is making me mystified as to how they got a feature out of this.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Blind Spotting, this is one of the most talked about films of the year. It made its premiere at Sundance. It is an action comedy with Daveed Diggs, best known. Well, he's going to be known for this film now, but he is best known currently for the Broadway musical Hamilton. And who's his co-star?
It's a comedy, but there are comedic moments, but it's more of a drama. It's Daveed
It's being billed as a comedy.
Raphael Casal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was a drama too, but it is being billed as a comedy. So
I don't know.
It's
the story of a man who witnesses the shooting of an unarmed black man who was shot to death by a police officer. Wow, like that never happens in real life.
Yep.
That's called sarcasm.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it does happen entirely too damn often. Obviously, this film was going to touch a lot of hot buttons for a lot of people.
People have been raving about it when they've seen it so far.
Mm-hmm.
Another movie that coming out this summer, another sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Do we really? Why don't you guys spread the sequels throughout the whole year instead of bunching them all together in the summer? The latest movie to prove Tom Cruise is a man. He's a tough guy, baby. Mission Impossible Fallout, starring Cruise.
I am really convinced Tom Cruise has Shane McMahon syndrome.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what Shane McMahon syndrome is...
We'll explain it in a minute. Starring Tom Cruise, Rebecca Ferguson, Simon Cruise, Simon Cowell. Simon Cowell.
Yeah,
Simon Pegg. And Henry Cavill and his mustache.
Oh.
We've seen the trailers. It's completely out there. Now explain what Shane McMahon syndrome is for those of you who are not wrestling fans. And she has a wrestling show, by the way, Ring Around the Rosie every Wednesday when we're back on track again.
Shane McMahon syndrome is something I came up with. It's basically the idea that for most of the year you're a well-adjusted human being, and then once a year you have this uncontrollable urge to climb up on something incredibly dangerous and high, usually then followed by throwing yourself off of it. Based on WWE performer, superstar, and all-around nutcase, and I mean that in the nicest possible way, Shane McMahon. But it does seem like every single year with these Mission Impossible movies, every year, Tom Cruise, and it is Tom Cruise, it's not a stunt person, that Tom is...
Tom got badly hurt making this film, actually, so...
Yeah. Tom is just driven like a salmon going upstream. That, he sees something high, he has to get on it, he has to climb it, he has to ride it, whatever it is, whether it's an airplane or that insanely tall building in Dubai. Is that where that was?
Yeah, that was the Burj Khalifa in Dubai City. Yeah.
It's like something that's so incredibly dangerous you'd have to be out of your freaking mind, and Tom Cruise goes, okay, let's do it. I really...
I like the analogy.
What?
We are watching the immortal Tom Cruise salmon swimming uphill up to the top of the building.
Yes.
But he will dive into an ocean of air. He may go splat on the ground.
Thank you, Mr. Herzog.
No, that was my Jacques Cousteau.
Oh, okay.
That was French, not
German.
Sorry. I'm not good at either one of them. Anyway.
The trailer looks interesting. I mean, it does look cool. And the fight scene between Tom and Henry, I mean, that looks
like the best scene since the much unseen Jack Ryan movie with Chris Pine.
Yeah.
Which also had a hell of a crazy fight scene.
Also in a bathroom.
Yeah.
What is it with men fighting in bathrooms?
Well, maybe men's go to their maybe we're all going to the men's room together the way you ladies have always packed the ladies' room.
Yeah, but we just go in there and talk about how much money you're spending on
I
us
know
and
that.
laugh at you.
I know.
First
Purge is coming out this summer. Next. Shock and Awe, which is it's all the president's men without any of the presidents or their men.
Yeah.
It's basically the story of a couple of journalists trying to dig up the truth about the Shock and Awe campaign after 9/11.
Yeah.
And starring Woody Harrelson and Tommy Lee Jones.
Mm-hmm. July 8th brings Whitney, the biopic about Whitney Houston, which is a documentary, I should say. Needless to say, Whitney's family is not really happy about this.
And the critics have not been kind. The first reviews have started to hit, and it's not getting that great of reviews either.
No. Also coming out on July 13th is Skyscraper. Hey, honey, what's your opinion of Skyscraper?
What do you mean?
It doesn't matter what your opinion is of Skyscraper. I have been waiting to do that for weeks.
Gee, I wonder who's the star of this movie is.
Do you want to guess?
Yeah, right. Dwayne Johnson is the star. You want to give us?
Dwayne.
It's kind of like a Die Hard meets disaster film.
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk about it. I'll be there. It's is this the one he did with the director of? No, that was Rampage, which unfortunately did not go well, even though it got decent reviews.
Yeah. Dwayne Johnson plays a war veteran who lost his leg during military, actions, and is now a security specialist and has to get into a supposedly unpenetrable building to get his family out from the world's tallest skyscraper. And also, did we mention the building's on fire?
So like I said, Die Hard meets the Towering Inferno.
But it's also Dwayne Johnson, who hopefully will have a shirtless scene or 12. So I'm a woman. I have needs. Don't judge me.
Hotel Transylvania 3, Summer Vacation, exactly what it says it is. It's the third in the installment of the successful and pretty funny, from what I've seen, Hotel Transylvania movies created by and starring Adam Sandler as the voice of Dracula and a few other things out there, too. Eighth Grade is one of the most talked about films of the year. It is the directorial debut of comedy writer and comedian Bo Burnham. He wrote and directed this film. Elsie Fisher, a name will probably be seen possibly on this fall's Rising Stars list. Yep. And it is just an average story about this girl who is facing the last few days of her 8th grade year and headed to high school. Coming of age film that has critics have just been have they just been running wild with the praise for this film?
Yeah, because a lot of us remember 8th grade and that awkward, horrible time.
I love Bo Burnham anyway. He is one of the funniest stand-up comics ever, and I think his show was so unseen, so unfairly ignored by the people when it was on MTV. He had a comedy series on, and he was a little long in the tooth to be playing a teenager, but he was still, he's still pretty good. So I'm looking forward to this. Another movie that I know we're not looking forward to because Kim has made it very clear she's not looking forward to it, and that's because of the premise. And I'm stunned that Hollywood has been allowing this to come out. A comedy. It's got a great cast, but The premise behind Sorry to Bother You is what, darling?
Okay, it's not that I don't... Basically, my thing is, you make the movies you want to make. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. Doesn't mean I have to go see them, and it doesn't mean I'm going to fall all over myself to praise them because other people have guilt issues about stuff that I have nothing to do with.
Right.
Sorry to Bother You is the story of a young man who is trying to, get by in the world. He's a young African-American man who winds up working for a telemarketing firm and starts climbing the corporate ladder and doing incredibly well by using what is called a white voice on the phone with people. And because he's speaking, because he's speaking in this white voice, he's more trusted by the people that he talks to and gets them to buy things and so on and so forth and such like that. It's a condemnation of race relations and all this other stuff like that. Can I bring
Didn't
up...
we do that with Get Out last year?
Can I bring up the simple fact of the matter is, like I said, make whatever movies you want. I don't care. But if somebody made this exact same movie, word for word, same dialogue, and the main character was a Caucasian who finds success using a black voice, a so-called black voice,
right,
people would be screaming bloody murder.
Yeah.
There would be...
And there's any other kind of variation. It's like, say it was an Asian person who found the perfect black or white voice or whatever. People would be freaking out.
People would be screaming for boycotts. They would be screaming, how dare you.
And please don't make us out to be racist for this. We just think the entire premise is ridiculous.
I just think the entire premise is really, we really decided to go there. You decided to make a movie, and that's what...
It's massaging the Hollywood rich guilt. And we've all known that for at least 3 years
But
now.
my whole thing is, hey, if you have the money and that's the movie you want to make, great, make it. And if people want to go see it and find it, funny or whatever...
It has a great cast.
Go.
Lakeith Stanfield, best known for his role on Atlanta, and then also Armie Hammer, Danny Glover, and Tessa Thompson, three of the most competent people around.
But don't tell me there's no double standard, because there is.
Yeah. Also hitting some smaller films. Could you please, I can't read it that well, but I know we were both kind of blown away by this. The Legacy of a White-Tailed Deer Hunter.
That was a terrible choice of words.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Took him a minute, but he does get it eventually.
Oh, shut up. Shut up.
It's the story of a cameraman and a hunter who are out on a weekend excursion shooting little innocent animals. And the son of the hunter, who he is estranged from, is coming along with him. The cast includes Josh Brolin and Danny McBride.
Oh, right there. I'm not interested in Danny McBride. It's immediate red light for me.
I'm sorry. It's not that I don't enjoy eating meat. I am a tried and true card carrying carnivore. But the idea of the fact that certain people have to prove their manhood by shooting Bambi, or shooting Bambi's mom. F you.
Gauguin Voyage to Tahiti is a biopic with Vincent Cassel stepping into the shoes of the legendary painter. McQueen is also a documentary. This type is so small.
It's the story of Alexander McQueen.
Fashion maven Alexander McQueen. And Puzzle is a little drama about a wife whose life isn't really going all that great, and she finds solace when her husband buys her a jigsaw puzzle, and it takes over her life. It's been getting great reviews at the festivals. How it ends?
How it ends is a after the bomb drops, after the world ends movie about people trying to survive in what's left of the world, because we need stuff like that.
Yeah. Equalizer 2 with Denzel Washington back in the shoes of Edward Woodward from the TV series. Generation Wealth, one of the most talked about documentaries. This is actually not what many people think it is. They think it's about just rich people. What it is actually about is the current generation and how their expectations, they expect to be rich really fast by the time they're 30 or 35, and they have lost the idea of work ethic. And this movie takes a look at both ends of the stick on that. It's gotten incredible reviews. Also, Scotty and the Secret History of Hollywood another documentary about a gentleman, an almost 94-year-old.
He is 94. What he does, 94-year-old Scotty Bowers, who was a Marine, and after he got out of the service, became a pimp to the glitterati of Hollywood. It's based on his memoir, Full Service: My Adventures in Hollywood and the Secret Sex Lives of the Stars.
Is it a documentary or is it a
It's a documentary.
Okay. That's going to do it for July, but there's still more to come because we have one more summer month to go, and it's the dog days of summer. August is coming up
on Subject Cinema.
T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema.
Want to know what new films are coming out this weekend? Hi, I'm T.C. Kirkham of Subject Cinema, inviting you to check out 3 Minute Weekend, our weekly roundup of all the new films hitting U.S. theaters each weekend. We've got the 411 on all the new blockbusters, indies, and video-on-demand choices for you each week. 3 Minute Weekend, every Friday morning, from Subject Cinema and eCinemaOne.com, a PNRNetworks podcast powered by Libsyn. Subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast service.
Movies. Subject Cinema.
We have reached the dog days of summer on Subject Cinema this week.
Well.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
You said dog days.
I'm C.C. Kirkham.
Snoopy doesn't talk, so I'm Kim Brown. Hi.
And we do our summer movie preview every year. It's late this year because of circumstances, but we're still going to get it in. We already recorded it once, but we had a mysterious malfunction with the computer. It literally disappeared. I couldn't find it anywhere. So we're into August, and August is the month where there's some really good stuff always held for August, but a lot of it is films that either aren't that well known or a few that the studio thinks, well, we want it out in the summer, but it's not really a power film, so we'll put it at the end of August where nobody will see it.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you consider the fact that August is sometimes some of the hottest days of the year, and most theaters are air-conditioned, you'd think that the theaters would be full. But
give us a rundown on Christopher Robin.
Okay. Well,
they've already told a different version of the story, right?
Well, no.
Okay.
Goodbye, Christopher Robin is about the creation of Winnie the Pooh.
Right. But it was a lot to do with the son and how their relationship was terrible.
Christopher Robin is a fantasy telling the story of Christopher Robin, the little boy who was made famous by A.A. Milne in the Winnie the Pooh books. The thing is, it's much later in his life. He's not a little boy anymore. It's 1949, and Christopher Robin is all grown up now and has a family of his own, and he's not really happy with his life right now. He has to miss his vacation with his wife and kids to keep the factory where he's working to keep people from being laid off. And a couple of little people, or little beings, I should say, come back into his life to remind him of the happy times that he knew as a little boy. Winnie the Pooh and Piglet and Tigger and Eeyore come back into his life. Now, the thing is, in a kind of nod to Calvin and Hobbes, these aren't imaginary, other people can't see them characters. Other people can see them. The problem is, while Christopher Robin can see them move and hear them talk and stuff like that, other people only see them as stuffed animals. So, there's that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the trailer made me cry, so I'm like, oh boy. And I don't know who cast Brad Garrett as the voice of Eeyore, but that's inspired casting. Mm-hmm. With Ewan McGregor as Christopher Robin, I really can't wait to see this. It really does look very, very sweet.
Juliet Naked. I think this is going to be interesting. Film about a relationship that arises when a woman posts a scathing review of a previously never heard before album from a singer-songwriter with a cult following who her boyfriend is obsessed with. So she's doing that to be spiteful, I think. Only it ends up that she actually gets to meet the rock star and finds out that it's all kind of crazy. With Rose Byrne and Chris O'Dowd and Ethan Hawke, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that.
August 24th brings the story of Papillon back to the screen because we needed a remake. Why?
Yeah, that's what everybody said when they first showed at Con last year, I think.
Papillon, the story of an escape attempt from the infamous Devil's Island prison by some of the people held there, was originally a film that was made with Steve McQueen back in the 70s?
70s, yep.
And the remake has Charlie Hunnam in it, who unfortunately doesn't seem to be able to find a hit movie, and Rami Malek, who we've seen the trailer for Bohemian Rhapsody for, and holy crap, is that looking amazing. I really don't know why we need a remake of Papillon. I mean, it may turn out to be really good. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they made it, so they expect us to go see it, so there's that.
Yeah, comedy Crazy Rich Asians hits also in August, and it is exactly what it says it is. It's a raunchy, funny comedy adventure with a predominantly Asian cast, and if you like that sort of thing, it's probably fine. I might like it. It's got good people in it. Like Father.
Like Father is the story of a woman who is left at the altar. That's not good.
This is a movie Kim will probably not see at the theater.
Why not?
Daddy issues. Well, I'm just saying.
Well, okay, fine.
Okay.
No, the thing is, she's left at the altar, and instead of crawling into a bottle of tequila and never coming out, she decides to use the honeymoon trip to spend time with her father, from whom she is estranged, and to get to know him better. So one door closes, another one opens.
Yep, Kristen Bell and Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah, you know what?
Capable.
You're probably right. I am probably not going to see this at the theater because everybody knows Kim is not a pretty crier.
Mile 22, another dystopian future thing with Mark Wahlberg. The less said, the better. The Miseducation of Cameron Post, which was one of the big winners at Sundance this year, follows the story of the titular Cameron and two of her friends who are stuck in a gay conversion camp. This film is Chloe Grace Moretz, who is always awesome, and I've forgotten his name, the young man who played Leonardo DiCaprio's son in The Revenant, also prominent in this film.
Yeah.
The reviews have been terrific.
Yeah, I really want to say something right there, but I'm not going to.
Searching with John Cho as a father looking for his missing daughter. This film has gotten raves since it premiered at Sundance, and it is set 99.5% all online.
Yeah.
It's done through Skype and social media stuff, and it's
very much like the horror movie Unfriended, which came out
a couple of
years back.
A couple of those.
Yeah,
Friend request and unfriended, both of them Facebook type things.
He's living every parent's worst nightmare, the disappearance of his daughter.
Right.
So that looks interesting. Also in August is The Spy Who Dumped Me. A comedy about a young woman who winds up getting dumped by her boyfriend, and finds out that there's more to him than she thought there was, including the fact that he works for the CIA. It stars Mila Kunis, Kate McKinnon, and Sam Heughan. So that, I mean, it looks kind of funny, kind of dumb, but funny at the same time.
It does.
There's a film coming out in August that we saw the trailer for with Deadpool 2. I want to see this. I really want to see this.
Yeah, this looks good, although it does look like kind of a mashup between Jaws, Sharknado, and Piranha.
Kind of.
But, no, it's Jason Statham.
But all the fun parts of all those. The Meg is coming out in August. The Meg is the story of a discovery of the existence still of a megalodon. Now, for those of you who just went, what the hell is that? A megalodon is a species of shark. Now, I know some people just went, well, nifty. So what? We've seen shark movies before. Can impress us. Well, the thing is, a megalodon was an actual real animal. And you should get down on your knees right now and pray to whatever deity you believe in that they really don't still exist, because megalodons were about 75 feet long.
Yeah.
Now, picture something that long, that big, with that many teeth, suddenly getting the munchies, and to him, you're a popcorn shrimp. It stars Jason Statham and Lee Bingbing and Winston Chow, and we saw the trailer for it, and it looks fun as hell.
Yeah, it does look like it's going to be
and a lot of people going to get it. And I'm going to laugh.
The Darkest Minds, based on the young adult novel series of the same name, is basically X-Men without the X-Men. Kids with superpowers who are now achieving this after most kids died off in a disease.
Yeah. There was a virus that killed most of the kids in America. The kids who were left are developing superpowers. And, of course, the second kids develop superpowers, adults start panicking.
Headed up by Gwendolyn Christie of the Star Wars current franchise, who plays Captain Phasma. She's also on Game of Thrones. And Amanda Stenberg, who is probably best known still for Rue in the Hunger Games, but she's building a name for herself in independent films like As You Are with Roland Campbell, and then Everything with Nick Robinson.
Yep.
We love Amanda. This is going to be interesting, but the movie itself I'm not that terribly interested in. I have to be honest. I'll go see it, but I don't think I'm that interested in it.
August 10th brings Dog Days, and not just the weather.
Yeah.
Dog Days is looking at people in L.A. and their relationships with other people and also with the dogs in their lives. Now, while we're reading all of this stuff, thank you to Entertainment Weekly for your movie preview edition as always. There's a little bit of information from Adam Pally, who is an actor who plays one of the characters in this film. He says, quote, "There's an easy form of connection with pets, specifically dogs. Not really cats, because cats are kind of beep heads," end quote.
Oh boy. TC's turning on his blast shield. Have at it.
Adam Pally.
I'm going to have a sound effect for that soon.
Adam Pally can take his opinion about cats and he can roll that sumbitch up real tight.
Okay, we had enough Dwayne Johnson rock notes this week.
F you.
Okay, let's go over this.
F you and the horse you rode in on.
We still have a few more things to talk about. We'll mention them as we go through the schedule. And I'm not going to bother with the 25th other than Solo.
Yep.
So we'll go right into June. And June's schedule looks like this. I'm going to turn the light this way because I can't see it. Can you still see?
I'm fine.
Opening on June 1st, Action Point with Johnny Knoxville, Adrift with Shailene Woodley and Sam Claflin, American Animals, put an asterisk by because of the Movie Pass situation, A Kid Like Jake, Rodin. Is that Rodin or Rodin? It's about the artist, I think.
Rodin.
And Upgrade are coming out June 1st.
June 8th brings to the theaters Alex Strangelove, En El Séptimo Dia, Hearts Beat Loud, Hereditary, Hotel Artemis, Ocean's 8, and Won't You Be My Neighbor.
What's your opinion of Hotel Artemis? I mean, it just sounds intriguing to me, but I don't know.
It sounds intriguing to me.
And I love Jodie Foster.
It does sound interesting to me. It's got an amazing cast. I mean, the whole dystopian future thing the dystopian future that's the day after tomorrow kind of stuff has been a little bit done to death for my taste.
Yeah,
but
true.
It does have an awesome cast, so.
And on June 15th, Eating Animals, Gotti, Incredibles 2, Loving Pablo, Set It Up, Superfly, Tag, Westwood, Punk, Icon, Activist, and the Year of Spectacular Men, a new comedy with Zoe Deutsch.
And June 22nd brings Boundaries, Damsel, Izzy Gets the Fork, and we're not using the word, Across Town, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, The King, Under the Silver Lake.
On June 29th, we'll wrap up the month with Custody, Hover, Leave No Trace, Sicario, Day of the Soldado, Uncle Drew, and Woman Walks Ahead. That weekend has a really weak lineup, period. Heading into July, on July 4th is The First Purge. Marissa Tomei should have known better.
Yeah, really. Why don't they just call it Red Hour the movie and have fun with it? July 6th brings Ant-Man and the Wasp, The Legacy of a White-Tailed Deer Hunter, Sorry to Bother You, Tao, and Whitney.
On July 11th, there is Gauguin Voyage to the Tahiti. And July 13th, Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot, 8th Grade, Hotel Transylvania 3, Summer Vacation, Now It Ends, a new action film with Theo James and Forrest Whitaker, McQueen, Puzzle, Shock and Awe, and Skyscraper.
July 20th brings The Equalizer 2, Far From the Tree, Generation Wealth, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, and July 27th brings Blind Spotting, Hot Summer Nights, Mission Impossible Fallout, Scotty and the Secret History of Hollywood, and Teen Titans Go to the movies.
I'd like to see that Scotty and the Secret History of Hollywood. It just sounds really intriguing. I didn't know there was any such thing.
I'd like to see it, but I have a feeling that afterwards I'm going to be like, I
need a shower.
I need to towel off everything.
August kicks off on August 1st with Nico, 1988, a documentary about the legendary Velvet Underground singer. Mm-hmm. August 3rd opens Christopher Robin, The Darkest Minds, Like Father, Mile 22, The Miseducation of Cameron Post, Searching, The Spy Who Dumped Me, Summer of 84, and The Wife.
Okay. August 10th, the movies that are opening are AXL, Dog Days, Extinction, the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, Madeline's Madeline, The Meg, and My Son.
July 6th.
And also July 6th, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. That's
no,
that's a wrong notation.
Sorry.
No, we had the same magazine.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Also on that August 10th, The Package and Skate Kitchen. Skate Kitchen is Crystal Moselle's first narrative film. It's based on a true story about a group of female skateboarders, and it sounds like it's going to be fun. Crystal, of course, was the wonderful filmmaker who brought the Wolfpack to the big screen. The kids that were in New York and living in the same apartment, movie fanatics that they were.
Yep.
I've forgotten their last name. That's terrible. And they were on our Rising Stars list that year.
Mm-hmm.
August 17th is Alpha. This movie has got a lot of people talking because we're not sure. They're being very coy with the advertising and trailers on this film. It has basically to do, if you've ever seen Yesteryear from the animated Star Trek series, this is basically Yesteryear in the Arctic, about a young man out there on his manhood journey, trying to connect with a group of wolves out there.
It's kind of basically the story of how we took the wolf into our hearts, and the wolf became the dog.
The interesting thing about it, though, is that the trailer is kind of intimating that it's a Native American thing, but it's set in Alaska, and it's starring Australian Cody Smith McPhee, who is nowhere near Native American.
It was
so
set
I don't
during
know.
the Ice Age, I think.
Huh?
I think it's set during the Ice Age.
Is it set that far back?
I'm
I
not
didn't think it was.
I
thought
know.
it was set like in the 1700s.
No, I don't
know.
think so.
Crazy Rich Asians that day. Down a Dark Hall with Anna Sophia Robb. The Happy Time Murders, which isn't in here on a longer thing, and that really surprises me. The Happy Time Murders sounds like it's going to be one of the most original films of the summer. It is basically Greg the Bunny, the film.
Yeah.
Although it doesn't have Greg the Bunny in it, the story is puppets and humans live as the same, although puppets are considered second-class citizens, but they are...
they're real.
Which is the story of the Greg the Bunny Fox series. And they're, one by one, former cast members of a show called Happy Time are getting murdered. All puppets, although I think a couple of humans too, and it's up to the police detective played by Melissa McCarthy to find out what's going on. It is already getting incredible buzz. It's being compared to Peter Jackson's film Meet the Feebles, although more family friendly, and it's directed by Brian Henson, son of Jim. So it should be really interesting. Juliet Naked, The Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich, and To All the Boys I've Loved Before, another coming of age film, all out on August 17th. And you want to wrap it up there?
I sure will. August 24th brings us The Bookshop, Papillon, and Slender Man, which we are
The
not
less
talking
said,
about.
The less said about the better. Yeah.
And August 31st brings After Party and Kin.
There is some, I think of all the movies this summer, now this is the 130 that Entertainment Weekly had. Over the last 4 weeks when this came out, there have been another 15 or 16 added from the festival circuit that are coming out in limited release or major release near the end of the summer. And that we'll give you those as the dates come up. They haven't all announced them all.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what I'm really looking forward to more than anything other than the Mr. Rogers film is probably Happy Time Murders. This sounds funny. I'm interested in Alpha because I am a huge Cody Smith-McPhee fan. I love him, and I have loved him in every single role I've ever seen him in. Mm-hmm. This is an actor who we've never had on the Rising Stars list for some reason, and has his ability to immerse himself in every character he plays is uncanny, and it's been that way since he was 10 years old.
That's true.
So it's like, this could be really something, and he's also got a big one coming out this fall with X-Men Dark Phoenix, where he's playing Nightcrawler again. So it's I love him. What about you? Is there anything that jumps out at you that you weren't expecting to?
Well, when I first heard about the Meg, I was like,
the Meg,
boy.
yeah, the Meg looks good. The trailer looks fun.
I was like, really?
It's your basic Jason Statham action film.
I know, but that one scene, a lot of it takes place in an underwater research station. Yeah. And we see a little girl playing with a toy, and she looks up, and there's this shadowy thing outside that suddenly opens up its mouth. And there are teeth in this thing's mouth that look about as large as a small child. And it bites the window. And when the adults see the ring of teeth marks. Now, when you consider that an underwater research station, how thick has that glass got to be?
Yeah, pretty thick.
How deep were those dents?
Yeah, and we didn't see how deep the station was either, but probably pretty deep because you can go down to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's a scene in the trailer where there's one of those little research subs that's attacked by a giant squid.
Yeah.
And when the giant squid is like, yap, because the Meg shows up.
Yep.
That's bad.
Yeah, it looks like a hella fun film.
It does.
And I'm still saying you're going to have trouble with it for the first half because it's all underwater and your claustrophobia is going to be hitting you the way it hits me when I have my heights thing with
not until you open your big mouth, probably. But I'm just kidding.
I won't do it that night.
Well, I
don't
didn't
want you to
have
run screaming into the bathroom.
I didn't have a problem with The Abyss. So
okay, well, I didn't know you then, so I don't know. That was years ago.
No, I know. Won't You Be My Neighbor looks like it's going to be really, really something special.
And it's going to be an opening night thing, and we're going to probably have to traipse to either the Kendall or the Coolidge for it. And I'm like, I can't wait to see this. And I'm such a huge fan of Fred. And now it'll just be, of course, in a year. And it's only going to be another year before the biopic hits. Tom Hanks is playing Fred Rogers in the new film You Are My Friend, which is based on an excellent book by an author from the Houston Chronicle, I believe, who wrote about his friendship with Fred. If you've never read that book, I'll put it in the show notes. It's a great book, and I've read it, and it's fantastic. I have a little issue with Tom Hanks playing Fred, but he surprised me as Sully too.
Yeah.
So
what I saw of him as Walt Disney, I was like, what?
That was
and then I
scary.
saw him as Walt Disney, I'm like, okay,
he was a better choice for Walt Disney than Thomas Ian Nicholas was, and Walt before Disney a couple years ago. So there's a lot of great films coming out this summer, and this fall has got crazy stuff too, and we'll handle that when it comes out in September. It's going to be. I don't know if it'll be a summer to remember, but it's certainly going to be a summer where we've got at least 3 major blockbusters. Avengers already, even though it came out in April, already one of the biggest grossing films of all time. Deadpool 2 doing really well. Jurassic World coming up. And possibly Ocean's 8 and Mamma Mia. It could be an interesting summer. Definitely. We have a few more things we're going to talk about, and we'll be right back with those
when Subject Cinema returns.
The films of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This is Subject Cinema.
It's absolutely apptacular. The Subject Cinema Android app. Everything you need to be a rabid Subject Cinema fan. Subject Cinema, 3 Minute Weekend, Tuesday Digidex, and Front Row 5 and 10. all right at your fingertips and available instantly. Plus, email and voicemail links, Facebook and Twitter hookups, Patreon support specials, and more is coming real soon. Don't just listen, app it. The all-in-one Subject Cinema podcast app. Android version available now at Google Play or on PNR Network websites. Amazon and iPhone apps coming soon. Don't delay. Download today.
T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema.
Although we didn't get a chance to live snark it because of the circumstances, the 2018 Eurovision Song Contest happened a couple weeks ago, May 8th, 10th, and 12th. And because I was home trying to coordinate stuff, I did take a couple hours Tuesday and Thursday to watch the semifinals on Eurovision's online site. Yep. They weren't telecast. But, of course, Logo, again, carried it here on TV. I have to say, I much prefer watching it online, because then we don't have to deal with the insipid commentary.
That's true.
It's like every country has their own commentators, and we are no exception. Ross Matthews and let me look it up here. Ross Matthews, who does America's commentaries? America, U.S. was, that's because we're not in that part. We're down here. U.S. was Ross Matthews and Shangela for the final. They were also done on the radio in Los Angeles by Ewan Smith and Lisa Jane Lewis for the final, and in Portuguese by Ana Filipa Rosa, also in Los Angeles. But Eurovision this year was, I really got into it by doing a whole series. I profiled all 43 songs, trying to get people out there and interested, and hoping that they would be interested, and ragging on a couple of songs I utterly hated that both made the top 10, which is just unforgivable, in particular, one in particular. And I'm like, okay, we both watched the finals. We have both been rooting for the eventual winner, which was the awesome Netta from Israel with her dynamite girl power anthem, Toy. Fantastic. It was close, though. At the end, it was neck and neck between Netta, Cyprus's Eleni Furieria with Fuego, which I like more and more every time I hear it, and Austria's Cesar Samson with Nobody But You. But Netta still topped everything, ended up with 529 points, which she was almost 100 points ahead of Fuego at the end. But there were two songs that just drove me out the wall this year. Czech Republic's entry was Lie to Me by Mikolas Joseph. If you've ever seen the video, if you can check it out on eCinemaOne, you can check it out on Kirkham Report, you can check it out on Planet BiblioMusica. The lyrics of this song are just garbage. They don't make any sense half the time. And Eurovision is a songwriting contest. The writer is the primary winner. And I'm like, why did this get so high?
What do sense they make is mostly sexist.
Yeah, you think it makes Rico Suave look like an etiquette book. And then there was Sweden's Benjamin Ingrosso with Dance You Off, which is just one of the most derivative Euro pop garbage pieces I've ever heard. And then that whole smarmy routine he was doing, take a couple of steps, turn toward the camera, do the whole Isaac the bartender smile, and it didn't help that he looks 30. In this particular performance, he looks a lot like Bruce Campbell. He's 20, and he sings like he's 14. I'm like, what the hell? But it was fun. The best thing, if you can look it up online, and if I think of it, I'll put a link up, was Moldova. Moldova's wonderful routine to My Lucky Day by Dorados. The video is fun because the woman who is the singer as part of the trio partway through this video, starts rocking this gigantic satellite dish-sized hat. And it's funny as hell. When they did the performance live, they chose to do a... what are those called? Box routines? Where they have 3 doors and then there's 3 sections to each door, and they kept opening different sections as they danced and sang. It was stupendous. And when you see the backstage thing where all the crap going on while the performance is going on, it's like, whoa!
It was
Everybody's
very
been raving about it.
1950s musical, I thought.
Okay,
the performance, but I liked it. It was nice.
Terrific. There were a lot of great songs this year, and I'm really thinking that Israel's toy, Netta, is just, there's no holding her back. If it doesn't hit the American chart, I will be damn surprised. Because the song has already gotten amazing notice around the world on YouTube. It's been the favorite song of most Americans who are aware of Eurovision. And I mean, this song is just one of the best songs ever. She's fun. The song is fun. The video is fun. I think she could be, I really do. I predicted it would become the first top 10 Eurovision entry in America since, I think, way back in the 60s. Love is Blue by Paul Muriat hit number 1 for 5 weeks in 1968. It was an instrumental cover of the number 4 film, number 4 song in 1967, which was the entry from France. That was a huge hit, and that's the last thing I remember Eurovision hitting really big with, although Eras 2 by Most Adonis and Waterloo by ABBA both made the top 20. Top 10, actually.
Yeah.
Although I think Waterloo may have peaked just below the top 10. Eras 2 made it to number 9. But it turned ABBA into worldwide sensations. So, you know, it is important over there.
Yeah.
And everybody watches it, and I've really gotten into the fandom. And if you watch Eurovision, you can check it out online. There's all kinds of YouTube channels with people who have whole channels devoted to the history of this thing. Full episodes available online. You can see clips and everything else. We've watched a lot of them on various sites that have been just, some of the stuff over the years has been hysterically bad. And it's like, okay.
And some of it's been really great.
Yeah, but I mean, let's face it. I mean, as Americans, we don't get the whole, well, I don't think we really get the whole vibe. This is such a European tradition.
Yeah.
And they're only now trying to involve America in it by, you know, showing it here and trying to get American stars to come over.
No, you're right. You're absolutely
and
right.
It's, I'd like to see, it needs a major network here in America to really take off. Logo is too small. Their subscription rates are way low compared to some. I mean, CW, this would be an ideal thing for CW, but the problem is when it airs, it has to air at, it airs at a certain time everywhere, so it will always air 3 o'clock Eastern time, 12 noon Pacific time here in America.
Yeah.
And that turns into some crazy stuff when you're further east and the show is actually running like at 1 o'clock in the morning. But it's like, okay, you know, Eurovision is over. Congratulations to Netta. We hope to see you on the American chart, and we can't wait for next year. We'll start coverage on the Kirkham Report when all of the country stuff starts going, when they're having their individual country finals. So, because I'm now thoroughly obsessed with it after 3 years. So, expect more from it eventually.
The best movies! Subject Cinema!
PNR Network shows depend on our listeners. It's you that makes us who we are. Help us bring you all the best we can. Become a Patreon patron. Donations start at just $2 a month, and the more patrons we can get, the more we'll be able to offer. You can get great perks, plus exclusive blogs and podcasts available only for being a patron as well. It's absolutely fantastic. So please, become a Patreon patron today. We need you. Patreon.com/PNRNetworks.
Real movies for real people. Subject Cinema.
Beautiful girlfriend.
Sorry I'm late. I was rounding up all the gluten in the world and launching into space where it can't not hurt us ever again.
Kiss me like you miss me, Red.
What in the fuxicle is this?
Okay, here we go again. R-rated comedy, Merc with a mouth. You figure it out. Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool 2. Give us a rundown.
Deadpool 2 takes place 2 years after the events of the first Deadpool movie.
Well, that's convenient. That was 2 years ago.
Yep. And it begins with a suicide attempt by Deadpool. And because it is Wade Wilson, it's not your typical, suicide attempt where somebody eats a bullet or steps in front of a train or even does a James Blunt, You're Beautiful swan dive off of a building into freezing cold oceans. Oh no, it's Deadpool lying on half a dozen tanks of kerosene, lit match and stuff going.
Lit cigarette. He didn't use a match. He was smoking.
So you're right. Yeah. Cigarette, gasoline, boom, cue Patsy Cline's I Fall to Pieces.
Not really.
Which would have been a
better... No, actually, cue Celine Dion's opening
song. Actually, cue... what was playing at the time was Air Supply's All Out of Love.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Which I can't hear anymore. Thank you so much, Animal Kingdom. We find out why Deadpool is trying to kill himself early on, because of what happened earlier in the film, weeks before then, a tragedy.
Flashback.
Yeah. A tragic event causes Deadpool to try and end it all, and he winds up in the care, we'll go with care, of Colossus, one of the X-Men, who is trying to get Wade back on track and get him to actually live his life again.
Same basic part he had in the first film.
Yeah.
And yes, Teenage Negasonic Warhead is back.
Teenage Warhead is back, along with her girlfriend, Yukio.
Hi, Wade.
Yeah. She's cute. She is majorly cute. Things start rolling right away when the X-Men are called to deal with a situation at an orphanage, which is supposed to be a place where mutant children can be safe. Spoiler alert, they're not. And not by other children, but by the staff. A young man is trying to, get away from the orphanage and cause as much damage as possible. A boy named Russell Collins, who has the power of pyrokinesis. He can conjure fire and throw it. And eventually, he and Wade wind up in prison because it's Deadpool. You know that the cops are going to get involved somewhere. Also into this whole stew comes another ingredient, and that would be in the form of Cable. Cable, a gentleman from the future with a lot of nifty toys and a very large axe to grind against Russell. Apparently, the future Russell is a bringer of death and destruction, and Cable wants to nip that in the bud by killing Russell when he's a young man. And that leads into the formation of a new X-team, X-derivative, and all of the usual door-busting, head-busting, fourth-wall-destroying insanity that usually follows Deadpool around like a trained puppy.
With Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, Josh Brolin as Cable, Maria Baccarin as Vanessa, Julian Dennison as Russell Collins, Zazie Beetz as Domino, T.J. Miller as Weasel, Brianna Hildebrand as Negasonic Teenage Warrior, Warhead. Okay, sorry. Jack Kesey as Black Tom Cassidy, and a few other guest shots and cameos therein, which we won't get into because we want you to be surprised. We will tell you, though, that this is the first film in quite a while Stan Lee was not in. He was unavailable. He did do the trailer, and there is an appearance by Stan in the form of a statue.
There's a mural on the side of the building.
Okay. Yeah. But he's there.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was, based on the highly successful first film. What you think?
I thought this was as good and maybe even slightly better than Deadpool. I enjoyed Deadpool. This one I enjoyed just a tiny bit more. I think maybe because I enjoyed it a little more because of the fact that there was a Deadpool 1. Because by the time Deadpool 2 came along, deity of your choice, help me, but I actually care about Wade. I actually like Wade.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be in the same room with Wade. Hell, I wouldn't want to be in the same state with Wade. But I like him.
Yeah.
For all of the fact that guy is nuttier than a bag of squirrels and, incredibly violent and extraordinarily dangerous, and I mean all of those three statements in the nicest possible way, he does have a code of honor. He does have a code of ethics.
Okay.
They're his, and that's really all you can say, but he has them. Wade Wilson, and I know some people are going to go, what the hell did you just say? Wade Wilson, deep down inside, is not a bad person.
Okay.
I don't think he's a bad person.
Okay.
I think he's done some bad stuff, but that doesn't... Sometimes people do bad things, but that doesn't make them bad people.
Right. Okay.
And some people do bad things, and they are bad people.
Right,
but
okay.
Wade is actually a character that I actually care about. I want to see him succeed because I think that he deserves friends. He talks about in this film how it's a family film, and he does deserve family. And I realize some people are going to go, I can't believe you slipped that in there, but it's true. There's a line from Supernatural, family don't end with blood. And this movie shows that that's true.
Right.
You don't have to be genetically tied to someone to make them your family.
Uh-huh.
Family are people who not only would die for you, but you'd die for them because you love them.
Okay.
And I think that that's a really powerful statement, and I think that really comes out of this film. Yeah, there's a lot of action, and there's a lot of blood, and there's a lot of stuff getting blown up, and there's a lot of really funny lines, and there's a lot of meta winking at the camera stuff. But there are also a lot of really beautiful, truly beautiful moments in this film. And yes, I cried, and if you want to make fun of me for that, fine. I don't care. I cried because there were parts that were beautiful and really touched my heart.
Uh-huh.
And I thought it was a really good film. I really enjoyed the story.
Okay.
So there.
That's good.
What about you?
Okay. I love the first film. And I thought it was a hilarious thing. And I like this one. It's not bad. But I do have a few problems with it because I think there is such a thing as too much meta. This movie is so full of meta, it almost becomes meta itself. And that's just redundant as all hell. The jokes fall flat about 30% of the time for me. They're good. The visual ones are better because you get a hilarious look at things. Once again, I forgot to mention her. Leslie Uggam steals the movie as Blind Al. She's a riot in as this character. And this is from a woman who I remember playing, Little Miss Goody Two-Shoes on TV shows and being a variety star and host of TV's Fantasy a few years ago. And here she is out here dropping F-bombs like there's no tomorrow. I'm like, oh my God. I love the chemistry that develops between Wade and Domino. She is awesome and just cool as a cucumber all the way through. Domino is her mutant ability is the ability of manipulating luck.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting.
Everything always works out for her.
Yeah.
And the fact that Zazie Beetz is drop dead gorgeous.
Is. She also best known for Atlanta. There's all kinds of good stuff here. Julian Dennison, who came to everybody's attention in Hunt for the Wilder People last year, is kind of whiny as Russell, but it works. It reminds me of what you would get if Russell from Up was a kind of spastic badass. Because it's the same kind of fatherless character that you have going here that's like,
well, see,
okay.
The thing about Russell, and I know that
this is your opinion.
This is my opinion, for what it's worth. Russell brings out something in me that is a very weird feeling for me.
Uh-huh.
Russell brings out a very maternal feeling for me,
well,
which is very weird for
I wouldn't
me.
want to be his mother, I gotta be honest.
Well, maybe if his mother, was around, and if he had someone to love him.
All right.
Maybe
But
all
I'm saying is that the characters are almost identically written, except Russell from Up and Russell from X-Men are on opposite sides of the coin.
I just feel bad.
Russell from Up is shy. Russell from X-Men is just dying to get out of where he is. So but they're the same thing. I mean, you could actually compare Carl and Wade in some ways too. The movie itself has too much derivative of other things that aren't meta. It does have a lot of parallels to Up. I was actually looking at this online. It is almost the direct same story from Logan, which Hugh Jackman is the star of, and which Ryan Reynolds continues to have a fun. I don't think it's a real feud. It's more of a sarcastic feud with throughout this, because he wants Wolverine to do a Deadpool movie. Overall, it's fun and it's worth the money, but there are things about it that just get a little too cutesy for the meta stuff. They go, I mean, and the end credits, post credits, and middle credits thing, it kind of negates the entire purpose of the film. I'm not going to say anything about it, but let's just say that what happens at the beginning isn't really happening because they fix it before the end of the movie. So it's like, okay. Just got to say that. They fix it actually after the end of the movie in the end credits.
Yeah.
They also do a few other things in that little end credit sequence that are absolutely hilariously funny. And rightfully so. Another one involving Hugh Jackman. So we'll get into that, and you watch for The Vanisher. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm going to say. That was this post-production reshoot that they did, because the person there could only get in for a couple days. So it is an interesting thing.
My only big problem with the film is the scene that I was talking about with you last night.
Uh-huh.
The fact that scene, while it's funny, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, yeah.
So that's just my take on it.
Theme song, by the way, rip-off of Skyfall by Adele, performed by Celine Dion. And
Opening
the
credits
done
by someone who's watched way too many James Bond movies.
Yep, and they're hilarious, and the song is great. What's your score?
I give Deadpool 2 an A-.
I've got to be honest, I like it, and I like it enough to recommend it, but there's so much going on, and it's a little too meta for its own good. So I can only give it a B-. Deadpool is available everywhere. Deadpool 2 is available everywhere. Check it out as soon as you can.
Good times and great movies. Subject Cinema.
I just don't really feel like it's much to ask to have a superhero movie come out this year that doesn't make me cry. I would
Avengers, check.
Yeah.
What were the rest of them?
Well, Avengers, yes. Deadpool 2,
Avengers,
yes.
You were literally bawling.
Yeah, I was.
That was not just a few tears. That was a major river
full
cry.
on.
Yeah.
Close to almost panic attack. That was not
right.
fun. Deadpool, same thing. It's
Guardians of the Galaxy last year.
Yeah.
All the superheroes movies from last year. Ragnarok.
All
all the Marvel movies. Basically. I don't remember you shedding any tears during Justice League.
What are you talking about?
Did you?
No, not Justice League. No, Batman vs Superman. I cried.
No, Justice League. I don't think you did.
No, Justice League.
So
I
there
did.
is a superhero movie that you didn't cry about.
Yeah, that's true.
There are some good DC slams in the movie
but Batman
too.
vs Superman, I couldn't stop crying. That was really bad. I was like, after the movie, I was like in the ladies' room crying, and with the restaurant crying. It was really bad. I'm sorry, we're like just rabbiting on here. And I'm a marshmallow, and I can't help it. I'm in touch with my feelings.
Yes, she is. It was a fun movie, but like I said, I told Kim this analogy yesterday. You know how Birdemic turned out to be so bad it's good and funny. And so when they did Birdemic 2, the reason it didn't work was because they tried to be funny.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem with Deadpool. They tried too hard to be funny, and it sacrificed some of the quality of the movie. It was funny, but some of the jokes fell flat, and the meta stuff was just getting out of hand. So, but I did like it. I will watch it again when it comes on cable and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a great film.
Okay, before we go, I want to bring up something really cool because we haven't done a Scream and Shout for quite a bit.
I forgot we're going to do that, but go ahead and do it. We just won't use the jingle this week. Well, it's here though.
The Scream and Shout.
Of course,
this
you couldn't
week.
wait to give a Scream and Shout to Mr. Cumberbatch.
I'm giving him a Scream and Shout because what he did was really, really a good thing to do.
I know that. You know,
it's not because he's one of the most handsome men on the planet and an amazing actor. And
my name is Cumberbatch.
Rude. This week's Subject Cinema Scream and Shout goes out to Benedict Cumberbatch, and if you get his name wrong again, I'm going to throw my glass at your head. There's been a lot of talk recently, as well as there should be, because it's frickin' wrong, about the wage gap in a lot of films and TV shows between men and women.
Like the reshoots for All the Money in the World? $2 million for Mark Wahlberg and $2,000 for Michelle Williams. That was not called for, man.
You know, that almost made me. No, actually, it did make me glad that movie tanked.
I'm glad that happened because that's what brought this whole thing. And Jennifer Lawrence's vocal opposition to the practice has been huge in making it blow up in Hollywood right now.
Well, a lot of people have said, oh, it's a terrible thing, but, you know, what are we going to do about it? Well, certain people stood up and said, well, I'm going to do something about it, and one of those people is Benedict Cumberbatch, who has said that he is going to refuse parts in films and TV and stuff like that unless he is paid, he and his female co-stars are paid the same amount of money.
Oh, that's all it is? I thought he was going to use the Eye of Agamemnon to, like, smite everybody.
It's Eye of Agamotto. And if you keep poking me...
Poke.
Somebody apparently needs to be re-educated on what happens when you poke the bear. I've
been away. I can't help it. I got to do something to loosen up.
Yeah. You really think kicking my hornet's nest is a good idea?
I haven't punched your buttons about the season finale of Supernatural. See? I wouldn't do that because I know how heartbreaking you were. Anyway.
Give me a minute.
Speaking of which, Planet Rose's Garden returns this weekend with the season finale of Supernatural.
And now that you've scattered my chi all over the room, just give me a minute to get it back. Align the chakras. Everything's fine.
She doesn't really do all that stuff.
Oh, actually, I'm getting more into crystals and stuff like that.
Yeah, crystals, but not that.
Anyway, I just think that this is awesome. I think this
is awesome. It's a great thing that Benedict is doing, and I think that's really going to put some heat on some big stars in the future.
He's actually said that other male actors should do the same thing. This is a quote from him. Quote, look at your quotas. Ask what women are being paid and say, if she's not paid the same as the men, I'm not doing it. End quote.
Well, what about that? That could pose a problem with stuff like the Marvel universe. How are you gonna? You know, everybody's gonna have to get equal pay, and that'll make those movies too expensive to do.
Well, I think what he's talking about is the fact that, obviously, the person who is the headliner of the film is not going to get paid the same thing as the person that comes in with one line, turns around, and leaves.
Well, no, I'm talking of, like, say he does another Avengers film. We'll see what happens in next year. And he's doing it with Scarlett Johansson, who is a major character, but she's not the top level. Can he literally say, well, I want her to get paid the same thing, but if that puts her above, say, Mark Ruffalo or Chris Hemsworth, then you got a problem.
I don't think that's what he means, and you know it.
No, I don't know it. I'm not sure what he means. I think it's a great thing. All I'm saying is that you have to be doing it carefully so that it doesn't cause problems on the set.
If you're in a film like, well, not even a film. Look at a show like The Crown. The woman that plays the Queen is paid less than her male co-star.
Right, but her male co-star was a named star when he came on, and she was not. They both openly said, we have no problem with that. So don't use the Queen as an example, because they were already clear about that.
All right, okay, fine. All right, let's put it stepping back, a couple of decades, more than a couple. Do you seriously think that Clark Gable and Vivien Leigh got paid the same on Gone with the Wind?
No.
Do you think they should have?
Probably. She probably should have got paid more than him because he was hardly in the movie when you really think about it. He was only in about an hour and she's in the whole damn thing. So it's like, okay.
Well, if you're the male lead and the female
Which was
lead.
technically, what's his name?
Who?
Leslie Charles, or what was his name is?
Leslie Howard?
Leslie Howard was technically the male lead. Because, he was in it a lot more than Clark Gable was. So anyway.
And I think what he's saying is the male lead and the female lead should be paid the same amount of money.
Right, I agree with that.
And I think that that's a really ballsy thing for him to come out and do.
It is.
I think that that's really amazing. And that's why he's getting this week's Subject Cinema Scream and Shout, because he's just awesome. And that was a really amazing, gutsy thing to do.
It is. Okay. So, Mr. Benedict Cumberbatch, wish you the best of luck in your career. Hopefully it won't backfire. I don't think it will. Somebody of your caliber, and we'll go from there. All right. Now, as we start to get everything back online, Platinum Rose's Garden is returning tonight with the season finale, which was called
Let the Good Times Roll.
And Kim will be here crying in her beer as she does her recap on PlatinumRosesGarden.com.
Your amount of sympathy is truly underwhelming.
Well, I'm not saying I'm not sympathetic. Did I not give you plenty of space and say you were,
Yes.
Because I knew you were. She watched it live this year. She usually doesn't do that, and it was interesting. Catastrophe Vortex will be back at some point this coming week. I'm not sure what day. It's supposed to be on Monday. It might not be till Wednesday or Thursday. I'm still working on the list I'm doing. Having a real hard time picking my favorite dozen episodes of Seconds from Disaster. We'll talk about that. Then that's at CatastropheVortex.com. Kim's wrestling show, which has been off since my stuff started, will be back on Wednesday. Ring Around the Rosie, all about pro wrestling. She talks about the current stuff and also past stuff. And this week she's got a few bugs up her butt. So we'll
this week I have my nose is severely out of joint, so it's something that I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off with. I, honest to blog, don't care. And also, we'll have some Raw and SmackDown results, and hopefully you will come and check that out. If you are also so inclined, you can check me out on Twitter at PlatinumRoseLady at Twitter.com, and you can also follow TC on Twitter at eCinemaOne at Twitter.com.
eCinemaOne and eCinemaBoston at Twitter.com, and we're not done with the shows yet.
No. I know.
Tuesday Digidex and 3 Minute Weekend are our two mini shows that air during the week. Tuesday Digidex covers home video, and 3 Minute Weekend film city in theaters every week. We also have two other spin-off shows or associated shows, Cavebabble with Eric and Valerie Lyon, and Comic Grotto with Aunt B and Pee Wee. Anthony is also doing some YouTube rants of late that are available on his website, and I'll add that to stuff as I can. I also have started my first YouTube exclusive show, but you haven't seen it as yet. Kirkham Report made its debut the day I got home, actually, from Ohio. The day my mother passed away. It made its debut the next day, and I immediately got flagged. It was my top songs from Eurovision in the order that I liked them, with commentary and clips and everything, and boom, it got hit with the copyright thing. And I'm like, I'm fighting it because it's fair use, it's transformative, and I'm fed up with this shit from Orchard. Every time I put a video up, Orchard tries to knock me, and I'm sick of it. And I'm actually getting to the point where I'm thinking of finding an attorney to start making some real waves in the copyright area, because I'm sick to death of this crap. And they just, for once, they need to start listening to the people using it and not just the owners, because I'm not making money from these. I'm just doing it for fun. I don't care if they monetize the videos. They're welcome to. But let me have my creative freedom, because if you don't, I'm going to come after you and I am going to put you in the ground. I'm fed up with it. You're on point. Kirkham Report will premiere on regular basis, on Saturdays, on YouTube only, on our YouTube site. And don't forget to check out our first ever full production, Manhattan Hammerdown As It Happened. You can find it at ManhattanHammerdown.com. Our dramatic presentation of what was going on in New York the night Cloverfield happened. It was a 10th anniversary special
it was a real
involving the entire PNRNetworks family, and we hope you will check it out. It is also on our YouTube site. Is that everything?
I think that's it.
We'd love to hear from you at subjectcinema at PNRNetworks.com, and please take the time to become a Patreon sponsor at patreon.com/PNRNetworks. We desperately need your support to keep things going, and without it, we will be making some changes. As I said, we're still working on. I got most of it done this last week, and hopefully we'll have those up by June 1st. But we're kind of coming up with some interesting new perks for you. So hopefully you'll take the time to Patreon us at patreon.com/PNRNetworks.
Yep.
Okay?
I think that's about it.
All right. Maybe we can get things back to normal this week. For Subject Cinema, I'm T.C. Kirkham.
When have things ever been normal around here? I'm Kim Brown.
May your popcorn always be buttered.
And may your roses always be in bloom.
And don't forget Front Row 5 and 10 on Thursdays coming back this coming week.
Yep, bring on summer.
You have been listening to Subject Cinema with hosts T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema is produced by PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, which is solely responsible for its content. Subject Cinema theme performed by Eric Lyon. Subject Cinema is recorded and produced using Sony Vegas products. Subject Cinema is copyright 2017 by PNRNetworks under a Creative Commons license. Check out a new episode of Subject Cinema every weekend. Until next time, this is Bob Taylor for Subject Cinema, and we'll see you at the movies.
That's all.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.